Have you watched all of the episodes?
Yes, I have multiple times. And to be honest, I was waiting for the chance for me to kind of clear things up when it comes to the whole reveal part of Medina and me. I wish I could blame it on the edit, but it really was this awkward. How can you prepare for something like this?
Did producers play any role in you joining back, or was it completely your decision? And did you guys know about your ethnicity?
Yes, I also saw that a lot. That people thought he was expecting a white woman.
Why did you end the date abruptly?
Because I mean, one thing is you agreed or you said you would be open,
Yes.
and then afterwards you're saying that, well, I didn't say when. It could also be 20 years.
And are you willing to do more reality shows? How has your experience?
I think I'm done with the reality casting shows.
Hi, reality TV besties. We recently got a chance to sit with Sally from Love is Blind Germany. And we spoke to her at length regarding her relationship with Medina on the show and asked her all the questions that you've been wanting answers to. So, watch now.
So the show begins with the pods, but people had a lot of questions about your life before the pods. So how was your dating life before you joined the Love is Blind? And were you really ready to get married on the show?
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's kind of like a valid question because when I joined the show, I was 26 years old, which I think for a lot of people is quite young to be able to say, okay, I'm ready for this big step of marriage. But for me, my dating life before I would describe as the ghetto. Because I think, I mean, I'm kind of known to have long situationships because before joining the show, and I think now this has changed kind of drastically as well. I'm always quite cautious and I like to get to know someone for a long extended period of time because even a relationship and of course, then also a marriage is super, super important for me, like such a big step. I want to really make sure that I know everything about the person because before even entering a relationship. So usually when I was dating, I was also quite picky, I must say. I mean, I have my standards and I have things I wish for in a man. So I was really looking for the specific characteristics to date. So I had one kind of more serious relationship in the past, and then mainly just dating, having some situationships, and then I applied for the show.
Okay. So the change that you said you've had in your approach with regards to dating, would you like give the credit to Love is Blind and this experience for that?
Yeah, I mean, even though the experience is, it's only 6 weeks in total, so it's kind of like a short amount of time,
Yeah.
but you learn so much during this short amount of time because of the intensity of it all. So definitely I learned a lot when it comes to dating, because in the beginning, of course, we were 15 men, 15 women, you date everyone, and everyone is super, super different. So it's just about how to approach if it's a first date, and also when you are dating seriously, and also to get married, the kind of questions and the kind of things you look out for from the very beginning. So this experience has definitely taught me a lot.
Okay. Okay. Thank you so much for answering that. Now, people had a lot of questions around the pods as well. So, firstly, we saw very little of your time with Medina, and we did not see you dating anybody else. Who was your number two, and who did you connect with, like other than Medina?
Yeah, I must also say when I was watching the show and watching the edit, I think it was quite unfortunate that you couldn't really see so much of me and Medina's conversations, and nevertheless of me and anyone else's conversations or connections. But actually it was mainly Medina. But of course I was dating everyone, and then at some point it got less and less people you go on dates with. And my last two like strong soldiers at the front, I would say, were Medina, number one, and then also there was someone called Masood. You didn't really see him, maybe sometimes in the lounge. He was
Yeah.
the other black guy.
Yeah.
So it was, and he was also kind of up until almost the very end that we connected. But then in the end, I made the decision to move along with Medina.
Okay. And the other question was, who was most your type in terms of looks out of all the couples that made it?
Out of the couples that made it, so the couples that we saw, I must say Marcel is quite cute. He's he's cute. I
Yeah.
like the beard. I like his face. He has a pretty face, I must say.
Yeah.
So I said it from the very beginning, the first time I saw him, that Marcel is a cute man for sure.
Okay. Yeah. So we saw you connect with Medina on your similar personalities, on the religion and faith that both of you had. What were the other things that we did not see because we saw only a smaller part of your dates? So what was it that made you decide that, okay, this is my person and this is someone I want to go forward with?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, one thing Medina and I really connected on was our humor, I would say. You
Mhm.
couldn't really see that a lot because our connections or the conversations you saw in the edit were mainly kind of like more deep based on the faith
Yeah,
aspect of it all. But apart from us having the same belief and believing in God,
yeah.
it was also really our humor. So we could laugh about so many things. I remember one time he came into the pod and he was a bit down because of something that happened. I remember what. And then
Mhm.
he was like, okay, I just need like something light. I need a good vibe. Can you do something or say something to make me laugh? And
Mhm.
I said, I don't remember what I said, but I said one sentence and he's just bursted out into laughing, which I must say we all saw he likes to laugh in general.
Mhm.
But I
Yeah.
think I think definitely our humor is what connected us, and also our upbringing. I'm Ghanaian. He's from Congo, Angola. His parents, so we are both kind of Africans who
Mm,
live in Germany. So we have these two cultures which are very, very opposite to each other
mm.
within us. So this is also kind of what we connected on. So our similar upbringing, our faith, our humor, and also a bit of our lifestyle.
Yeah, this gives a better perspective because we only saw
Yeah,
like a couple of things, and everybody was like not very convinced on why you guys went ahead with it. But yeah, I think it's the
yeah.
edit that they do. So yeah, it makes sense. Okay, so let's move on to the face reveal, the viral moment. Um, as an audience, let me say, when I was watching it, it was awkward. We could sense that both of you were nervous, of course,
Mm.
but personally, I felt you were trying to make some conversation during those moments. And
Thank you. Yes, I
yeah,
was.
and he wasn't even like responding properly. You would want him to say something. Of course, he said you look nice, but I think that was about it. I know it gets edited, but how was the moment? What was going on through your
Mhm.
mind? And now when you
Yeah.
watch it back, what could you change? Like what could you have done better, or was there anything that could have been improved?
Yeah, that's a great question. To be honest, I was waiting for the chance for me to kind of clear things up when it comes to the whole reveal part of Medina and me.
Yeah,
So I can maybe give you a rundown through the whole day to
sure,
better maybe understand of what happened and how we were both feeling.
sure.
So how the show is that you get engaged, and it's kind of like one day for the engagement parts and then one day for the reveals. So
Hmm.
every reveal happened on the same day, and then everyone had their different slots.
Okay.
Me and Medina's slots were at the last slot. So we were at the very end of the day. It was already evening time. We've
Hmm.
been waiting the whole day to see each other. And of course, there was such an excitement for you to be able to see your
Right.
fiance for the first time, who you've never seen, and you have such a strong connection. So we were both very, very nervous, just waiting the whole day to be able to see each other. And then we saw each other. I think also this whole moment is such an intense experience, and it's such a unique, intense experience because it's not intimate at all. It should be intimate, but it's not intimate at all
Yeah.
because I mean there are a lot of
Mm,
cameras, a lot of people, and it's like meet your fiance and react. Like everyone is expecting some kind of reaction, even me, myself, and him.
mm,
And you can also see in the interview that I did before that I was quite nervous. Of course, I think you can be as confident as you want as a woman if you're seeing someone who you are supposed to be married to. You have some insecurities. You're just very nervous to see, like, okay, how is he gonna look? How is he gonna perceive me?
mm.
So what happened was we saw each other. It was as awkward as it was. I wish I could blame it on the edit, but it really was this awkward,
Okay.
unfortunately. And yes, and I mean, I knew Medina from hours of talking to him blindly in the pods,
Hmm.
and I knew him as, I mean, of course, also laughing a lot, but then again, being very communicative, and speaking a lot and being very charismatic. So then, at the reveal part, he was too nervous to speak, and he was just laughing, but his laughing was like, what are you laughing about? Because nothing funny was happening, but it was just his way of concealing his emotions. And I was super, super, super confused. And I also saw that a lot of people kind of were analyzing the situation, looking into our facial expressions, because there was not much to go off on what we said, because we
Hmm.
didn't really say a lot.
Yeah.
So he gave me it came out of the blue. I was a bit surprised about that. And then we sat down. And to be honest, even until now, I'm like, what do you even talk about in this moment? You can say, oh, you look nice. Of course, this is the
Yeah.
best way to go, to be honest, to give someone a
Yeah.
compliment.
Yeah.
But then again, we were just both not prepared. How can you prepare for something like this? And his laughing was making me very, very, I even said it, kind of insecure and confused. And
Yeah.
I was saying, oh, wow, we're engaged. And even I was telling him, they didn't edit this one in. I was telling him, like, say something, but he didn't say anything.
Uh,
And it was so terrible. It was so bad. I wanted to open up the floor, go into the floor and close it and just hide somewhere in the corner, just escape this situation. And I was like, yeah, let's have a hug. And then I was just waiting for me to be able to go away from the situation. So I went into my little lounge area.
Hmm.
And then the production team was talking to me. They wanted to make some shots and stuff, but I
Hmm.
was just kind of super overwhelmed. And I just wanted to gather myself and kind of process what just happened, of me seeing my fiance. I mean, I did say yes to the engagement, so I was still willing to continue.
Yeah.
It was just about me kind of processing everything and making sense out of what just happened and why it was so awkward.
Hmm.
And I was just evaluating everything because I got this clear go from God, or this clear sign before to go
Right.
ahead, and then this happened, which was super confusing. And then, to be honest, I had a panic attack. And you saw parts of it where I was really kind of
Yes.
losing it and crying.
Yeah.
I had a big panic attack and just wanted to gather myself.
Oh my God.
When I left the set and they edited the way that I was leaving the set to end the experiment, it
Hmm.
wasn't the case. I was just trying to gather myself and, calm down. And at the same time, they then told him Sally has left the set, which made it seem like I
That's
ended it.
the experiment. Yeah,
Yes.
that's what we thought, that you had left it. Because yeah, people were also asking that did producers play any role in you joining back, or was it completely your decision that you wanted to come back and speak to him again?
Yeah, I mean, when they kind of decided to not continue to follow our journey and bring us to the vacation and everything, we
Hmm.
got brought back to our like normal everyday life, and we
Right.
both live in the same city. So we both live in Berlin.
Hmm.
So of course, then we were able to connect with each other. We were able to see each other without having cameras on us. We talked a lot, and then we were invited to come back to the get together in the show. And
Mm-hmm.
the production team saw, okay, there is a connection. There is maybe something to build on. And then they gave us the opportunity or the chance to come back and rejoin the experiment, which we both took on because why not?
Yeah.
And that's what we also saw when we had this kind of chat in the cafe.
Okay. As
Yeah.
awkward as the face reveal moment was, I think the moment where you said, God gave you a sign, I think that was one of the most beautiful moment of the show that we saw. And
Yeah,
yeah, I mean, it would be a disappointment after that if you go through a face reveal like that. So yeah, that
exactly.
that makes sense. Yeah. So, also when we saw both of you connect back on that date, where you both chatted about what happened at the face reveal, and Medina put his side and you put yours.
Yeah.
When you were watching it back as an audience, first of all, have you watched it back? Like, have you watched all of the episodes?
Yes, I have multiple times.
Okay, that's great. Yeah, so when you were watching it back, a lot of people said that he did not apologize enough, and it was you apologizing for your insecurity. Well, he should have been the one convincing you and consoling you that it was not because of anything, because of the way you look or anything else. So a lot of people were left with questions that what was that conversation? Was that also edited? Was there more apologizing on his part? What happened there?
Yeah, I think this is also a great question. And this is something, I mean, when you see something that was recorded like afterwards and it's been a year, so you
Hmm.
can kind of also see some things differently and see it from a different perspective. And I
Right.
also must say, I do agree that in this whole situation and also the talk that we had in the cafe where we talked about what happened at the reveal, the vibe is really much me kind of apologizing to him, which I
Yeah.
also see. And now looking back, I must say, I wish I saw it like I see it now before. I hope it makes sense. Because also when we talked off cam, he was also mentioning to me a lot that, I mean, he's dealt with rejection in his past and he has like some trauma, I think, which we all have to some extent.
Yeah.
So I felt really bad for, I don't even know what I did wrong. I mean, he did kind of also something wrong by not reassuring me and laughing, but
Yeah.
because I'm also quite understanding and I would say also sometimes empathetic, I took on the blame kind of because I gave him, in his opinion, the feeling that I didn't like the way he looks. But I think this is because everything that you perceive is also subject to what you have in your
Yeah.
mind
In your mind.
already. So
Yeah.
I think he had this rejection mindset. And then me, I don't know, some kind of micro, maybe aggression that I had, not microaggression, micro expression that I had, was giving him signs of, I'm not feeling maybe the way he looks or his physical. And then he was projecting this. But I think looking back, I wish I could kind of really stick to also what I feel and believe and put my foot down and also have him understand me and also apologize to some extent for making me feel insecure in that situation.
Yeah, so I think that's what everybody was expecting him to do.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think we did not get it. The other perception that everybody had from the face reveal was that he was not aware of your ethnicity and he was expecting someone else. So would you want to clear that? Did you guys have that conversation in the pods and did you guys know about your ethnicity?
Yes, I also saw that a lot, that people thought he was expecting a white woman,
Fine.
which is not the case. I mean, we had hours and hours of conversations in the pods, and we spoke about our backgrounds. He knew I was Black, he knew I had Ghanaian roots, so this is not the case.
Okay. That's so great to clear on his part because a lot
Yeah,
of people were like he was expecting someone else. Okay.
yeah, no.
Okay, so let's now go back to the date, the last episode that we saw, which was about you having that conversation of, you wanting to move back to Hamburg sometime, later, or, it's your timeline. So, what was your feeling when Medina refused entirely to move back? Yeah, I mean, that was not the conversation that you guys had in the pods as we saw. So what was your feeling? Why did you end the date abruptly? Did you have like a proper conversation? And I don't know if you can answer this right now or not, but did you guys have since reached a middle ground on that moving back?
Yeah. I think, and also when I saw this conversation, this kind of argument that we had at our romantic date, which then turned out to not be so romantic, unfortunately, it was triggering me a lot. I mean, I think also the edit didn't convey this whole Hamburg, Berlin, like the two different cities conversation that
Yeah,
much as it was in real life. And I was so, so glad that they kind of replayed the scene in the
yeah,
pods where
yeah.
he was agreeing to be open at least to move to Hamburg, where I'm from and where my family is. But this was a big, big argument even afterwards at another date, which they didn't show, this whole Hamburg Berlin thing. And for me, I think it also showed kind of the way we approach things. Because I mean, one thing is you agreed or you said you would be open. And
Yes.
then afterwards, you're saying that, well, I didn't say when. It could also be 20 years. Everyone knows. If I ask you, are you open to do something or move somewhere? I don't mean in 20 years.
20.
So I think this was a bit of a, not childish, but come on, we all know what we're talking about. So yeah, this was a big, big issue. And I think I also saw some comments of people saying, okay, but his family is in Berlin, your family's in Hamburg. Why are you expecting him to leave his family and come to yours? For me, it's all about because for me, it was very important, which is why I asked it in the pods.
Yeah,
And then the
yeah.
way when someone voices their needs or their wishes, the way you kind of take it on. And I think overall, I wish he would have been a bit more empathetic in that situation. But I think we were both just very much on defense.
And when you said about empathy, I think in the pod's conversations, he says that he has lived with three women, but sometimes he feels that he's not very empathetic. So what is your comment on that? Like, what did you feel?
Literally, because I have a sister and we are very close, and I have a brother, and my brother grew up with me and my sister. And in my opinion, my brother is super, super empathetic. Like he
Same.
knows how to treat
Yeah,
women.
yeah. Even
Yeah,
even
and I
I
think
have a
also that's
sister. Yeah,
yeah.
and sisters make them empathetic because that's my experience as well.
Literally. Exactly. You understand women a bit better. You know how to treat women. So I still believe that's the case. And I was just because he has three sisters, which is even like it's an amazing situation to be in as a man, in my
Yeah.
opinion. And he should have empathy. And also job-wise, he's an empathy coach. Actually, he works in customer service and trains people to have empathy with the customers. So I
Hmm.
was really going with this, oh wow, I have an empathetic man and he's gonna really know how to handle my emotions and everything.
Yeah.
But it seems to be quite the opposite. I mean, now he's learned a lot as well,
Of course.
but I was really lacking the empathy in a few instances for sure.
Yeah, I mean, you would have been prepared for something else and you got something else. But
Exactly.
okay, so what happened on the day of wedding dress shopping? So
Yeah.
you could not find your dress. Was it because of your emotions towards the wedding, or was it there weren't more dress options that you would have
Hmm.
wanted?
I mean, to be honest, and I think also the production team, they were really seeing it as, okay, she's having maybe doubts about the whole thing. Maybe she's not feeling it so much, which is why
Mm,
she cannot put on a dress and feel like this is the right step for her. But it
mm.
was really just the dresses, to be honest. We went into one store, and I think when you go into one store and look for a dress for different types of women and different types of tastes, it
Yeah,
can be that you can just not find your type of dress. So it was just the store and the dresses that they had to offer.
yeah.
Yeah.
We kind of figured that it could have been the dress options that wouldn't have.
Yeah. that was the case.
Other than you and Medina, now that you've watched the show, who was your favorite couple and who did you think that they shouldn't have been together from the very starting?
Ooh. I would say the couple who was maybe least compatible, now looking back as well, would be Pascal and Shella. And in my opinion as well, Pascal maybe wasn't so ready for this whole experiment. And on the opposite, Shella was super ready for it and super mature about everything. I mean, she is my friend, so of course I'm going to say that. But also looking at the episodes, because I didn't know their story, to be honest. I only saw it when it was released. I can see that Pascal was already from the very beginning being a bit pessimistic about it and not so open. And I think it was kind of unfortunate for Shella because she was kind of robbed of the whole experience of being part of the experiment. Most compatible. That's an interesting question because I think all of the couples are kind of different. But I think Alina and Elias, as much as everyone is kind of hating Elias
Yeah.
and he's like the villain, like he kind of it was Tolga and now kind of he took Tolga's spot to be the villain of the show.
Yes.
And I can see where he went wrong so many times.
Yeah.
But I think Alina and Elias are quite a good match, actually. Also, when you look at the parents and how they fit seamlessly into each other's families, I really think that they are a great couple now.
No, that makes sense. Now that we've
Yeah.
talked about Shella and Pascal, how did the casting happen? Like, do they do some tests or how were you casted? We did not address this.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the casting process is super long.
Hmm.
Some people were approached by someone from the production, some people applied. In my case, I applied. I applied in March 2023, which is a long time ago. And then I got the offer to actually join the show in August 2023. So that's like March, like 5 months or something, if I can count right. And you go through so many different stages. So I just saw the casting call and I was like, no way, they're casting for Love is Blind Germany. I didn't even know the show was
Hmm.
about to come out. And when I applied, it was, I mean, I was open, I was single and everything, but I didn't really think they would take me on. It was just for fun, kind of.
Yeah.
And then I was called back when I first applied. I think it was 5 weeks afterwards from someone from the production team. And they were like, oh, I saw your application. And the way they did it in the production team is that everyone can kind of check the applications and reach out to people. And then they pitch it within their production team of who would kind of be a good fit to join the show. And she was like, yeah, I'm going to pitch you. So please send us some videos of you where you're just talking to the camera, tell us something about yourself, send us your like images of your past relationships and also who's your type, what are you looking for in a man, all
Hmm.
of these things. And then they kind of gather the most information that they can. And then you get called in to also do like a workshop so they can really identify, okay, who would be your type physically as well, but also just lifestyle wise
Right.
and from kind of like just characteristics. And then they call you again, and it's like different rounds. You also do a psychological assessment. You have to send so many documents and files in. So it's really thorough, I must say. I think for everyone it's different because you get casted at different times. But in my case, it was a process of 5 months and different conversations, interviews, and so on.
Okay. So everybody who came on the show was kind of prepared and they did knew that they were getting casted for Love is Blind, Germany, right?
Yes, yeah. It wasn't a surprise. They should know it's Love is Blind. You're supposed to find someone to marry in the end. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, the other questions that a lot of Reddit users were asking, where can we see you next? And are you willing to do more reality shows? How has your experience been?
I think I'm done with the reality casting shows for anything dating related, and I think anything overall.
Mm-hmm.
It was super interesting and nice, fun, but also challenging experience for me. With the cameras in my face like this, in my everyday life, and me being so vulnerable, crying and laughing, it's really intense. And I'm very happy I had this opportunity. But I would say for now, I just want to be present in my life without cameras. But let's see what happens in the future. But I think dating wise, I wouldn't really go on a show to find love. I think there are other avenues to explore.
So, definitely. Thank you so much, Sally, for speaking to us. And I think we're just on time.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
yeah.
Thank you so much for watching the video. Please do not forget to drop your thoughts in the comments below. Also, do not forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel so that we can keep continue to bring more such content for you. I'll see you next time. Till then, bye bye.